Hey guys, Steph B. Sandy, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to master the art of brush lettering for your bullet journal. And you can either use this Lloyd Term 1917 bullet journal. It's the most popular bullet journal on the market. If you're into bullet journaling, I know you've heard of this one. I really love it, but it can be a little bit pricey. So I also recommend checking out these North books. They're super cheap. I'll link them down below. You can get them on Amazon. They come in a 3-pack for under $15. They're really flexible and they have great paper, especially for using the pens that we're going to be using today, which are also the most popular on the market, I would say, for brush lettering. So either of these journals will work perfectly. I'm going to show you a couple different angles to give you the idea and so you can really comfortably get the gist of brush lettering so that you can mimic my movements and perfect it for yourself, and you'll have something to go off of when you actually try to practice. But we're going to start out just traditionally using the overhead view, just as I go through some of the tips with you. I'm going to start by writing some bullet journaling terms since that only seems fit. So you can see the Tombow dual brush pens have two sides, a fine tip which you can use for detailing and faux calligraphy, and the brush tip which you can use to create traditional looking calligraphy. I'm going to push the tip of the pen against the paper and apply a lot of pressure as I pull the pen down to start writing the M. On the upstrokes, I'm going to release the pressure, but normally I wouldn't lift the pen. I would keep the pen flowing and just adjust the pressure using my hand. I'll also slightly change the angle of the brush so that it goes from its side to be more upright on the tip. Also, I want to mention that you don't have to keep the letters straight on a particular axis. First, starting out, it may be a good idea to use lined or dotted paper and use one row as a guideline so you know where to stop all your strokes. And also, you can learn to make your letters similar in shape and size, if that makes sense. I hope so. However, I like to change it up and make it more aesthetically pleasing and creative by mixing up the axis and putting letters both higher and lower than others. I think this adds a fun twist and some personality, which is awesome, especially for sprucing up your bullet journal. If you're having trouble maneuvering the pen to create different thicknesses in your lines, then I would suggest practicing your letters separately. More specifically, try drawing dashes and O's like so, and do so repeatedly because it'll help you learn the technique and get it down to a science. I'm just quickly showing you how I can write the same words, in this case habit tracker, but make them look totally different. Two different fonts, but same techniques. I'll get more into this shortly. Next up, I'm going to write the word June, and I'm going to intentionally leave gaps in the letters just to show you how you can fix or touch up your flaws. This is super easy to do and shows that you shouldn't feel any frustration at all if you ever mess up. As you can see, I'm switching from the brush tip over to the fine tip because it's easier to be more exact and precise using that side of the pen. I would definitely recommend to practice getting a smooth, consistent line by using the brush to delicately draw a bending, squiggly line with your pen, as I'm doing here. This will help naturally to avoid the gaps in your lettering. And the same goes, of course, for practicing your downstrokes as well. Just to clarify, the pressure that you add onto the brush should come mostly from gently leaning your wrist. That's the motion that you're aiming for. It shouldn't come from your arm or directly from your fingers. Also, make sure you aren't holding the brush perpendicular to the paper. You want to angle the pen outwards like you would with a paintbrush as opposed to a pen or pencil. This is important because if you hold the brush perpendicular to the paper, you won't be able to get the desired thickness in your downstrokes, and you'll undoubtedly damage the tip of your pen, which means you won't be able to get a good application from it any longer. Okay, so I thought it would be helpful to jump back in time to when I first started rather than just show you how I've learned after gaining some experience. This is just a cheap art journal I got from a local craft store. I went in, grabbed this journal, and bought my first brush lettering pen, and I made a hobby out of it, practicing every day until I became determined to get good enough to write poems and sell them as artwork. As you can see, I experimented with different fonts until I found what I liked and what I didn't like. This is what I'd recommend you to do. Grab an affordable portable notebook, preferably one that is made for art because that will have the higher quality paper, and just write in a page or two each day. Start with one marker, try different fonts, and write the same letters over and over again until you develop your style. And that's when you'll really have some fun. There's no pressure in a journal like this either because there's no guilt if you mess it up. It's meant to be messy, and you can see from my examples here, it's messy, but just have fun with it. And now let's look into some more current pieces. These are actually a lot of pieces that I sell in my Etsy shop, but this is not a promotion for my Etsy shop. I just want to show you my progress and kind of where practice gets you. So you can see all the different styles and fonts, and I use different pens. They'll all be linked below to achieve these pieces and these different looks. So I really like how all these turned out. I use those Pigma Micron pens in the really black bold pieces, and then I just use the Tombow dual brush pens for the other pieces. That is actually watercolor that you're seeing right now. So it doesn't really matter which tools that you use as long as you learn how to use them and you get comfortable and confident using each of the tools. So everyone has a different favorite. I like them all for different reasons, and I can do more specific videos regarding this. If you want, just leave your request in the comments if you're interested. Okay, so now I want to show you guys a different perspective. That way you can get a good idea of the pressure I apply to the pen and the angles in which I hold it without my arm or the pen covering anything up. Keep in mind I did speed up this clip for time's sake because I didn't want to put you to sleep. I think you guys get the gist of it though. We're going to finish off by writing out the alphabet, both capital letters and lowercase. I'm keeping it simple just to help you get started. Also, I did speed up this clip once again, but just to give you a better idea, it took me about 6.5 minutes to write this out, and I shortened it to about a minute. Take as long as you need to, but I want to stress that the timing of your movement for each letter does make an impact. I would say timing, pressure, and the angle that you hold the pen are important to get comfortable with in order to master the art of brush lettering. If you move the pen too slow, then you'll probably have breaks within the ink. If you move the pen too fast, it can get kind of sloppy and lose that delicate look that makes brush lettering so beautiful and classy. Basically, if you run into either of those problems, try adjusting the speed in which you move your pen. Try to time the movement of your arm as well. As you see, I move my arm as I write so that I don't have to lift the pen while I'm in the middle of a letter. You want the movement of the pen to be consistent, so you move your arm forward on the paper accordingly. Also, the movement in your wrist is slight. It shouldn't move too much, but it's the same natural movement that you would have when painting. Alright guys, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, then please give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more videos. Thank you, and I'll see you all very soon.